Hey everyone, what is going on? And welcome back to another meta guide. So we are in the Ultra League today. I already covered the Open Great League. We're covering the Open Ultra League now. The leagues begin tomorrow, so all three leagues. I don't think I'm going to do a meta guide for the Master League, but we're doing the Great League and the Ultra League. Let me know what league you're playing with. Hopefully you can hit Legend if you're close to it, or Expert, whatever your goals happen to be, because we do have one more week left, and it's going to be all three leagues, and then we have a new season beginning next month, so I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, without further ado, we'll go ahead and dive right into it and see what we got going on for us. So for the S-Rank Reggie Steele, of course, this is just going to be really, really strong. No doubt about it. That Zap Cannon, the bulk on it, really powerful. Giratina, yet another Pokemon that is really, really strong and really, really bulky. And on XL1 too, so keep that in mind. It's a legendary, so like it's still relatively expensive, but the XLs is still where it's at when it comes to expensive Pokemon. And please excuse me, I am sick, so if it sounds like I'm sick, I kind of lost my voice the other day, but you know, I'm back. Anyway, next up, Poliwrath. So Poliwrath, of course, is going to be a really strong Pokemon. Ever since I got the Icy Wind, it's just really good. The Scald got boosted. It's just a strong, strong Pokemon. I love Poliwrath. I really do. Then we have Cresselia. Cresselia with that thickness. Let's go. Okay, so Cresselia is going to be really strong for sure. Pidgeot. I like Pidgeot, so I've used Pidgeot and I hit Legend with it. Not this season, not last season. It was a couple seasons ago. It was a few seasons ago. But, I mean, that Feather Dance, like, I love leading Pidgeot just because I love, like, yeah, obviously you could go for Brave Bird and Dip, or you can go for the Feather Dance. It depends what's in the lead and what you want to do. Like, if it's, you know what I'm saying? So, I just love it all around. I think it's a great Pokemon. I think Feather Dance is a great move. Maybe they'll give it to more flying types. Maybe we wouldn't want that, because Scald was annoying this season with Wish Cash in the Great League. So, you know what? Maybe I actually wouldn't want that. But Feather Dance is guaranteed to debuff your opponents by 2 stages. So, probably wouldn't want that. And then we have Zygarde Complete. Okay, so Zygarde is a difficult one to get because you need to collect 250 cells to get the complete form. But once you're able to do it, you don't need XLs for the Ultra League. So yeah, you can go ahead and use it. It's a great Pokemon in the Ultra League. It's a great Pokemon in the Master League. So you can use it in the Ultra League while you're trying to build it up for the Master League, maybe. I'm still working on cells myself. And then we have Mandibuzz. Of course, Mandibuzz is super thick. Great flying type. I mean, Aerial is not the greatest move, but still, I mean, it's a bulky Pokemon that it makes it work, you know, so it's not bad, and Dark Pulse obviously is a good move, so I like Snarl on it over Air Slash. And then Tapu Fini, of course, we've seen Tapu Fini in the Ultra League for so long now, definitely a really strong pick. The A-Rank, we do have Swampert. Still really powerful. I feel like it fell off a little bit, but it's still really strong, especially in non-XL Pokemon. Cobalion of Virizion Cobalion, as the graphic shows. But both of them are really strong. Most of the time I see Leaf Blade when it comes to Virizion. That's probably the moveset I would go, Leaf Blade, Sacred Sword. And then in Cobalion you have the Stone Edge. But both of these Pokemon are powerful. They fell off a little bit when Annihilate and Poliwrath came into the meta, I guess, but still really strong picks. Regirock is a really good one. It does well against the flying types, especially against that Talonflame walling it, right? Walling every single attack. It does have the bulk to it, so yeah, I like Regirock a lot. And then Talonflame, speaking of such, it did receive the Incinerate and the Fly, when the Incinerate buff this season, and it got Fly, so yeah, another really strong pick. There's a lot of water types in the meta, so but still, I mean, Talonflame, I mean, having that hundo, having it, you know, high 2400, almost 2500, it's just really, really powerful Pokemon. And then we have Greedent. Of course, Greedent is always a great save swap, even with Annihilate, even with Poliwrath. Greedent is still a really good save swap. Tentacruel, another Pokemon I really like as well. I think Tentacruel is a great pick. It's really bulky. I've used it this season with success. So Tentacruel is expensive, but it is a really strong Pokemon. And then we have B-Rank, so Lantern. Lantern, actually, you need a hundo best buddy Lantern. And, you know, it's interesting that Lantern and Skarmory, both Great League Pokemon, we see them now in the Ultra League. More so Lantern, I guess. I do have a Hundo Skarmory. I'm not going to build it until I see what's going on next season to see if they nerf Steel Wing. But both of these Pokemon, I do think definitely have some play. That Lantern can wall off a lot of Pokemon. I mean, it does well against the Poliwrath, the Jellicent, right? It's doing neutral damage to the Dragonite, doing well against Pidgeot. It just has a lot of good matchups, but it also has some bad matchups, so there's that. Jellicent, really tanky in the Ultra League Annihilate. We kind of talked about it, like with Poliwrath. Defense Deoxys, I do think this is a really good lead because, you know, at the end of the day, you can go Psycho Boost and dip, right? If you get a good lead, or even if you don't get a good lead, yeah, Psycho Boost and dip, right? Even against Skeledirge, because you're going to get to the Psycho Boost before they get to the Shadow Ball, so you can go ahead and just go for the Psycho Boost and then switch into something else. I always like doing that. And then we have Dragonite. Dragonite, of course, really powerful. Most of the time, see it in the lead. Really powerful Pokemon. And Galarian Weezing, another Pokemon that you do see a good amount of times. But we're going to go ahead and move into the other options. We do have Gliscor or Shadow Gliscor. I would go with the Shadow version myself. I think it's that much better. Guzzlord, oh my gosh, I used the team with Guzzlord, and we'll talk about it in the solid team options when we get there. But Guzzlord, I've used this season. I climbed a lot of points with it. I think Guzzlord is really good. Obviously, so it's double weak to Fairy, so it does have to watch out for that. And then it's weak to fighting with, you know, but it can still even fight back because of the bulk it has against Annihilate and Poliwrath. Even though it loses, it can still fight back, right? Now, do you want to go with Brutal Swing? It's slightly cheaper than Crunch, but Crunch has that 30% chance to debuff. That's up to you. I was going with Crunch, but it's really your call. Both moves are good. Skeledirge, of course, Skeledirge with that Incinerate buff this season, similar to Talonflame, really strong pick. Pelipper, I like Pelipper. Of course, Pelipper, you know, it gets into the 2400s, XL'd, 100% best buddy, but it's not the bulkiest Pokemon around. I still think it's good, though. Charizard kind of fell out a little bit ever since the Talonflame and Skeledirge Incinerate buff this season. Cofagrigus, another ghost type. Galiciopod. So Galiciopod is a great safe swap. I think it's a really good one. So similar to Greedent, I think you can't go wrong with the safe swap. That doesn't mean that your opponent won't have an answer to it, but I think it's a great safe swap. Venusaur, if you're looking for a grass type, Venusaur is a really good way to go. Double is another good safe swap, I think. It does have to watch out for the Poliwrath and the Annihilate, obviously, right? But it also can hit those for decent damage, right? You probably run Payback on this, but you could fake that Wild Charge against the Poliwrath if your opponent happens to have it. Trevenant, yeah, another grass ghost type, and yeah, I mean another good one as well. It kind of fell out a little bit, but it's still a really strong Pokemon. Ever since that, see, it takes longer to get to Steep Bomb. That was nerfed, what was it, like a year ago or something like that. But still, it kind of fell out at that time, and then it, you know, people started using it again. Wolverine is great. Well, Wolverine's okay. It was nerfed. It's probably about time they bring it back. What do you think? I don't know. We'll have to see if they decide to do it. But it was nerfed, and it did affect Wolverine. Galarian Stunfisk, that Earthquake was nerfed, so not as good. I'm sorry. Still sick, as I mentioned earlier. The cough is really, really bad. But that's okay. So is the cold. But Galarian Stunfisk, no. I mean, the Earthquake was nerfed. It's really, really thick, right? We know that. So it's still a good Pokemon, but yeah, not as good as some of the other picks probably, but you might still see it from time to time. Hundo, best buddy, or if you like me, you have a Shundo, best buddy. But anyway, let's go ahead and move into the solid team options. So this is the first team I was kind of talking about was Guzzlord. Defense Deoxys, Greedent, Guzzlord. Now, I don't know who came up with this team, but Math Magic recommended it to me when I was kind of struggling. And I climbed a lot of points with this. Literally, I kept on having 4-1, a 4-1, 5-0. I kept on climbing with this. This was before Annihilate was released, so keep that in mind. But Poliwrath, of course, was a thing. So the back line, not going to like Poliwrath, not going to like Annihilate. But at the same time, you could still put in work, right? You can still put in work. Obviously, you want to see them in the lead. If you see them in the lead, that's fine. Greedent as a safe swap. And even if, so let's say you safe swap and they respond with like an Annihilate or a Poliwrath, whichever one, you still have play because you're still going to be doing neutral damage with the Body Slams. You get to them fast. Against Annihilate, you got to go for Crunch because Body Slam is double resisted. So it's not bad at all. and you just weaken it as low as possible, and then bring back in Defense Deoxys and hope that Guzzlord can clean up. That's essentially what you have to do, right? Excuse me. So, okay, so let's go ahead and move into the next team. It's going to be Annihilate in the lead with Registeel and Talonflame. Registeel, I think, is a pretty good safe swap because even if they have a response to it, like, for example, the Poliwrath, you could still pick up a shield because, or either pick up a shield or do a lot of damage with Zap Cannon. I guess the Poliwrath lives a Zap Cannon. I mean, I know it does, but it still will do a lot. And Registeel is just good at getting shields, right? You could probably even make a second attack as well. And Talonflame's just... that Incinerate buff really helped it out. The next team, I've been doing really well with this team. All but this season, I'm going to be honest with you. But it's going to be, I still think it's a pretty decent team. It's going to be Cobalion in the lead with Jellicent and Pidgeot. So, obviously, the lead Pokemon is not, what's it not going to like? It's not going to like Trevenant, right? Although you could still fight back against like Trevenant and Giratina with the Stone Edge. You still get them pretty low, even though you'll take an L on that matchup. But it's not going to like Annihilate at all. It hates Annihilate. As well as Poliwrath. But you do have two answers to those Pokemon in the back, right? You have the Pidgeot and Jellicent. The backline hates Electric. So you happen to run into like an Ampharos or even a Galvantula. Obviously, the Cobalion wants to see that. But I will say, most of the time, I do see Electric types in the lead, like Ampharos. Most of the time, it's in the lead. Let me know if you see that as well. So I feel like this team... I haven't tried this team out this season. I just felt like it would struggle this season, but, you know, it's still a really strong team. I'll probably try it out next season, depending on the meta shift. Next up, we have another team. We have Giratina. This team is ABA weak to Fairy, Giratina, Poliwrath, Tentacruel. Now, instead of the Poliwrath, you could go with the Annihilate. Again, ABA weak to Fairy. Obviously, the Charmeleons in the lead would be really bad. Clefable, if you see it in the lead, is really bad. Tapu Fini is fine because you resist the Water Gun and Surf. You just have to watch out for the, the Moonblast, right? But yeah, I've done pretty well with this team, and I featured this team as well. Next up, we have another pretty popular team, Shadow Dragonite, Registeel, Jellicent. Now, I see the Dragonite and the Jellicent a lot together, so whenever I see Dragonite in the lead, I'm always thinking Jellicent. As for the other option, you know, I have seen Registeel, but I've seen Double Water with Poliwrath or Tapu Fini, so it could go either way. But yeah, I mean, a really strong team Dragonite is really powerful. I do like the Steel type in the back, though, just because Dragonite is weak to Fairies, and Registeel does well against Fairies. And next up, the final team, we have Lantern with Annihilate, Double Ghost, Annihilate, Skeledirge. I guess the team is kind of ABA weak to Trevenant. So if Trevenant is in the lead, that's rough. You got to go into your Annihilate, which is still not good. But Skeledirge, with that Incinerate, is going to do well against the Trevenant. But anyway, that will be it for this meta guide. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.